In the mid-1990s, Robert worked as a paramedic in a small Texas town and had a chilling experience one night that he still can't explain. He and his partner received a call about a woman having chest pains. They jumped into the ambulance and sped off, lights and sirens blaring. Back then there was no GPS, so they had to rely on maps and mailbox numbers to find their way to the rural address. The address we were going to was very rural, Robert recalls. There were no streetlights and it was a very dark night, making it difficult to read the mailboxes. They searched for the correct driveway, eventually turning off the sirens to listen for any signs they were close. They thought they found it and pulled in, only to realize they were mistaken. They backed up, turned off the emergency lights, and continued to the correct address. When they arrived, Robert realized it was the same house they had visited a month earlier for a man who had suffered a cardiac arrest. With typical dark humor, they joked that the wife must now be having a heart attack to join her husband. They grabbed their gear and rushed to help the woman, who thankfully was stable. Robert sent his partner to get the stretcher so they could take her to the hospital for evaluation. When his partner returned, he had a strange, puzzled look on his face. They wheeled the patient out to the ambulance, and Robert was stunned to see that nearly every light on the vehicle was turned on. Strobe lights, floodlights, and some interior lights. After safely delivering the patient to the hospital, Robert asked his partner why he had turned on all the lights. His partner insisted he hadn't. In fact, they both remembered turning them all off after mistakenly pulling into the wrong driveway. Neither of us recall activating the emergency lights, strobes, or floodlights when we arrived at the house, Robert says. There was no reason to do so, we'd already gotten there. The unexplained lights left them both shaken. Robert couldn't shake the eerie feeling that something otherworldly had happened. He and his partner finally chalked it up to the woman's deceased husband, letting her know he was still around, watching over her. But the story doesn't end there. Over the next few weeks, Robert and his partner couldn't stop thinking about that night. They started noticing other strange occurrences. Equipment would inexplicably malfunction, and they would hear faint whispers in the back of the ambulance when it was just the two of them. One night, while driving back from a call, Robert glanced in the rearview mirror and swore he saw a shadowy figure sitting on the stretcher, just for a split second before it vanished. The paramedics began to dread night shifts, feeling a constant unease as if they were never truly alone. One particularly terrifying moment happened when they were restocking supplies at the station. The lights flickered and the temperature dropped suddenly. Robert's partner felt a cold hand brush against his arm, leaving a chill that lingered long after. The final straw came when they were called back to the same rural house, this time for a wellness check. They found the place empty and silent, but as they walked through the darkened rooms, they heard footsteps upstairs. Robert called out, but no one answered. They cautiously ascended the stairs, hearts pounding, only to find the rooms deserted. Yet the feeling of being watched was palpable. It was as if the house itself was alive with unseen eyes. Shaken, they quickly left and reported the house vacant. Both men agreed that they couldn't continue working under such unnerving circumstances. Shortly after, Robert requested a transfer, and his partner followed suit. They never spoke of the incident again, but the memory of that night and the eerie occurrences that followed remained etched in their minds.